place, and it's great. So for free overnight shipping in the US or Canada, you visit eero.com and select overnight as the shipping option, then enter Deadcast at checkout. That's EERO.com with offer code Deadcast at checkout. Thank you,
Sweet.
Yeah. Great. All right, now we're going to get on to the second part of our show, which is stuff at Comic-Con. I thought we would do what we did last year, just take turns going through a couple of our favorites. I'm 100% sure that Sean would like to talk about Aquaman.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I knew he was going to pick Aquaman.
It was definitely on my list of things. There was a different DC movie that had me excited, but when you have freaking Jason Momoa, how can you not just be super pumped? This is a dude that can do, oh yeah, he can do just about anything, and like he shows up on screen. Like we just mentioned Justice League, and like how like that was kind of a thud, but what made that movie halfway watchable? Freaking Jason Momoa. And Aquaman kind of has a lot of that like excitement kind of built into it. I'm curious, DC's kind of got that not great track record, and they're kind of doing a lot of retconning going on right now. So I'm not sure if this will be a throwaway movie, but, like I said, everything from Justice League with Aquaman was good. So I'm hoping this has that in it as well.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of the trailer? Did you watch it?
Yeah, trailer was good. It kind of seemed all over the place a little bit. Like I didn't really feel like I've got like good idea of where the story is. It kind of introduces a little bit of the background of Aquaman. You kind of see, Black Mantis, which that character looked pretty cool.
He looked awesome.
And then like I'm not a big Aquaman comic reader, but everybody I've heard talk about Black Mantis is like that's like right off the page. So hopefully that's not just like a one-off thing, like he just puts on the outfit as kind of fan service, like that's his actual outfit. I think would be pretty cool. Atlantis looked really cool. Like I think they kind of fixed the whole air bubble thing from Justice League.
Yeah,
where now they can actually just kind of talk. Yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
It made me think, like, the thing with Aquaman, especially before Jason Momoa was associated with it, is he was kind of the joke hero of the Justice League. Oh, he talks to fish, and he's in the water. Who cares? But then in the comics, they've tried to make him cool, and I think they've succeeded to a certain extent. But watching this trailer, I realize, actually when stuff is in the ocean in movies, it actually is pretty cool. Like Jaws is good, The Abyss. Like there's already been a lot of stuff in the water that's gripping and thrilling. And even like old documentaries of sea life, I kind of enjoyed as a kid with Jacques Cousteau and stuff like that. So it just seemed like, oh man, this is a whole new world to explore. And it was so beautifully presented with glowiness of the light shining through the water and the sea creatures, and just like that the world is opened up into a third dimension because it's not just being on the ground, but they can go around. So I don't know, if you think I'm full of crap, go watch the trailer, guys. I think it looked really cool. I mean, I don't know if the story is going to be any good, but I think Jason Momoa is super charming, and I think he will light up the screen, and his girlfriend's Johnny Depp's ex-wife, so that should be interesting. Mira.
Yeah.
And it just looks fantastic. So I really hope that the story will do all of that justice. I'm excited to see it now that I watched that trailer. I think more than any of the other trailers I saw, except for Better Call Saul, which I'm totally stoked about.
Kind of talked about that, like with Aquaman. Like I hope that's a movie when you go see it, it kind of has like the Guardians effect kind of thing, where you go, you see it. Because I imagine the first week it's not going to do very well, but if word of mouth is like, this is actually really good, like you come out and be like, I wouldn't mind seeing it again, that's a win for DC. But if you go into that and you leave like, yeah, I don't even care to ever think about Aquaman again in my life, I really feel like the whole DC universe is like, that's like the final straw.
I mean, I think they've learned that Marvel has it right, that you need to inject some humor and not just try to be dark with stuff, because Wonder Woman was a little brighter and more fun, and I think that this trailer had some funny moments in it, so hopefully that'll be good.
Well, and I think...
What do you think, Remo? You watched it, right?
Oh, totally.
She's like, the worst thing is when Jason Momoa has his shirt off. Totally awful.
Can't look. It's gratuitous.
Well, I think that casting Momoa as Aquaman is a good move on their part, because I think, yeah, as you said, Jason, Aquaman kind of gets kicked around a little bit in the comics. So I think he brings like the cool factor. And I think that he can totally pull off this, he can lead this movie. And there's a great supporting cast there to help him as well. I know Nicole Kidman plays his mom. I don't think she's in it very much, but I think just having her helps it. And then Patrick Wilson is really great. I like him as an actor. I like him in lots of things. And he plays his half-brother. And so I think that there's a good supporting cast there. I could totally do away with Amber Heard. I don't like her at all, but whatever. I'll still watch the movie. So I'm really...
She's all right.
Yeah, whatever. So but I think it's going to be pretty good. Because I think there is a little bit of lightness that you mentioned there that I think will bring some fun to it. I think it will have a good story, hopefully. And, I'm like Sean, it's kind of like, well, I don't quite know what's really happening here, where it's going exactly, but I'll watch it with an open heart. And I think that Momoa will do a really great job because he's fun to watch. He's always kind of fun to watch in all of his different roles. And I think he's pretty genuine. So I think he'll do some good. I'm excited for it.
Cool. They're playing up the whole, and no pun intended, but fish out of water element of Aquaman, where he's got a foot in both worlds,
Yeah.
And I think that could be an interesting hook into the story.
The reluctant hero doesn't want to.
Well, yeah, but also he's a king of Atlantis, but he grew up on land and got teased by the kids. And I did like that aquarium scene where all the fish are oriented towards the kids.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Kind of creepy almost.
Yeah, like that really shark was going to come out of the tank or something and eat the kid.
Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, Rima, what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Better Call Saul. This is probably on your list. But I was really excited about this one because I've been a fan of, I was a huge and still a huge fan. I've watched and rewatched Breaking Bad multiple times. And so to get the spin-off Better Call Saul, I've waited and waited, and when they finally brought it to us, I've been a fan since the beginning. And last season was amazing, like way better. I mean, it's been great since season 1, it really has, but season 3 totally blew me out of the water. So I was super excited to see this new trailer released, and I think that it's getting us to some really good spots. I don't know how much to talk about, like where they're kind of going with it or what they're kind of teasing. I don't know what's considered spoilers, and I don't know what they know and what they don't.
I would just say, like, this series is really good. It's kind of a very slow burn, but it's just so well done that it's a pleasure to watch, to me anyway, no matter what's going on. But the whole idea is that it's a prequel to Breaking Bad, where Saul was like the sleaziest lawyer you've ever seen. And when Better Call Saul starts, he's not even named Saul, and he's actually kind of a nice guy and earnest and everything. And so you're going to watch him turn into Saul Goodman. And we've seen him go in that direction, but it feels like it's taken longer than I thought it would. And I think partly it's because the writers like him better as a nice guy and they're resisting. But there was one part in the trailer where Saul/Jimmy McGill says, "Let's get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off, And I feel like that's like the writers talking to each other, like, all right, come on, we got to make this guy sleazy. So I think this season he's going to get a lot sleazier. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, and I just think some territory that they're going to venture into that might seem pretty familiar if you are a fan of Breaking Bad. There could be some things coming up, and if you watch the trailer, I don't guess it's too spoiler to really talk about the trailer since we're talking about it, and hopefully other folks have watched it. We do see a couple of folks that were from Breaking Bad. You'll remember Lydia, and then the Salamanca cousins. And of course, Giancarlo Esposito, who we did see last season, but he's returned again this season that we see as well. He's amazing as that character. So, I think they're gonna, I don't want to say too much about where I think that they're probably going to go, but yeah, I think we're starting to finally kind of see that turn. I think again that, I don't know, I think that they kind of took their time with it a little bit so we can kind of, because you don't really always love Saul, right? I mean, I did. I love Saul, but he was kind of, I loved him. I mean, he did some
bag. He got funny and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, they're getting old.
Yeah.
And it's starting to get a little ridiculous that they're playing younger versions of themselves, and just for that reason I'm almost like I'd like it to move along, and I don't want the series to end. But one of the great things about Better Call Saul is that once they reach up to Breaking Bad time period, then they can also just keep going after that if they want to.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for that. I'm really anxious to see where the season goes, because I do think that we're starting to get, that Saul Goodman, character that we didn't like so much from Breaking Bad. But I think that we have to love Jimmy McGill and then see Saul Goodman, and that just makes I think it just makes it more heartbreaking and more of a tragedy, I think.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, that's another thing, is he could actually end up redeeming himself if they do keep going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they've had the time jumps with, what's his name? His new name he's a Cinnabon manager.
Right.
So, I mean, kind of pathetic. So we could, they've kind of teased that and put that out there. So who knows? But I'm super excited. It made me want to go back and rewatch last season. I think I'm gonna have to put that on back on my list.
Because that show's very kind of complex, and I forgot what happened, so I need to go back and rewatch it. Yep. All right. My first one is actually a comic book, and I don't know how many people are going to care about this, so I won't talk about it too long. But one of my favorite writers is Grant Morrison, and he wrote The Invisibles, which some people think is kind of a template for The Matrix, like that they actually kind of stole parts of it from him. But he's written a lot of quirky independent comics, but also some of the best runs of superhero comics ever. And now he's going to be on Green Lantern, they announced. So he says the basic concept is that Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, is like a space cop that patrols a sector of the universe where anything can happen. We've made it more like a police procedural. We're doing Hal Jordan where, he's a good cop, but is he really a good guy? And we're looking into his relationship and how he deals with people. And also the fact that if you've got a job as a space cop, it's hard to be stuck on the planet Earth. He has other lives on other planets. We're going to be looking into a lot of things that I don't think we've seen a lot with Hal Jordan before. So anyway, I'm excited. I'm still reading comics after all this time, and not as many as I used to, but I'm definitely going to be picking this one up to see what Grant Morrison does with Green Lantern.
So how many different titles do you have in your pull list right now? Or do you already watch Green Lantern 2 or read Green Lantern?
I pick it up every once in a while just to check in, but I'm not that into it, so not really. And I don't have a lot of regular comics. Walking Dead is one that I have religiously picked up ever since I got into it back on issue 7, and they're on what are they on now?
181 I think just came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say I have 5 or 6 other ones that I pick up regularly.
Nice.
So, Sean, your turn.
All right, so I kind of alluded to it, but I feel like the movie that kind of stole Comic-Con from me was the DC movie that came out that basically injected all kinds of humor. Like, this is the Thor Ragnarok to me of the DC universe, and that is Shazam. So I know very little to nothing about this character. I saw some pictures online, and the suit looks very kind of fake, 80s style, like they stuffed it full of toilet paper kind of thing.
It looks weird.
It does look really odd, which I don't know if that's the character in the comics. From what I've gathered, in the comics he's more of a Superman character, so it's actual muscle.
Yeah. But,
this trailer I've watched 3 or 4 times, and I've laughed at numerous parts. I feel like... Again, this is the Thor Ragnarok. They're going, funny. Superheroes are kind of quirky. They're going to make fun of superheroes a little bit. It's this whole kid who gets to become a superhero. I really feel like this is the updated version of Tom Hanks' Big.
Yeah.
If nobody knows, it's not really a spoiler because this is from the 80s. But Big is about a kid who makes a wish. And guess what? He's an adult. And that's kind of what this guy gets to do. Every time he says Shazam, this boy becomes a man, superhero man type thing. And we get to see him on this adventure. There's this whole thing where they're doing this scene where he's trying to figure out what his superpowers are. And, him and his buddy's like, oh my God, you're bulletproof. I am bulletproof. And you're dead. Sorry about your window, but you're welcome for not getting robbed. So I feel like that'll be a movie you sit through. It's tied to the DC universe, I think, because they allude to Batman and other things. But I feel like that's a movie that'll be a fun ride. It's one that I could see probably going a couple times to seeing, hopefully, just on the trailer alone. But the one that really kind of stole the show for me was Shazam.
Yeah. So Shazam used to be called Captain Marvel in the comics, which got confusing because he's a DC character, but he actually came from another company called I forgot what it was called, Fawcett, and in 1940 was his first issue, and he was the most popular superhero back then. Millions of people bought those comics, and he was like the biggest thing with kids, and he was sort of like a Superman clone, which I think they had like lawsuits and stuff like that. But then in I think the 70s, they had a Saturday morning live action TV show where they had Shazam and ISIS Hour or something like that. And I don't think they played that up, that when he turned into Captain Marvel, a totally beefy adult dude, that he acted like a kid. I think he was just more adult like, if I remember right. And so I was happy to see that, yeah, it was more like big with superpowers, because that's the way to really take advantage of the dynamics of this character and make it really fun. And I thought the trailer was pretty funny too. I think it could end up being totally cheesy and bad, but I laughed, so I'm hoping that it's really fun and funny and good. But that costume looked really weird, not only the puffiness of it, but the way that the lightning bolt kind of glowed.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, I didn't watch the trailer, but I've seen lots of pictures, promo pictures because I knew this has been up and coming, and just looking at Comic-Con news, and this has kind of been in the news even prior to Comic-Con. It reminded me almost of the little kids superhero costumes, when kids, you know how little kids get them, and they have like those fake, they have the fake filled out muscles, the little kids costumes, like you see the little Spider-Man costumes and stuff, and they're all poofy with the fake filling for the muscles and stuff, and little kids are running around in them. That's what it reminded me of.
Well, yeah, I'm curious. I hope I hope it's good. Rima, it's your turn.
So the next one that I got really excited for, and anyone who listens to Sean and I's podcast on Strange Indeed know I go on and on many times about how much I love monster movies. And so, of course, that means Godzilla, King of the Monsters is something I'm super excited for. I love Godzilla. So this made me super excited. This follows the Godzilla movie from 2014. I don't know if anyone watched it. Bryan Cranston was in that, by the way. Gave it a little cred. But I love that one as well. But this one looks super fun, and Millie Bobby Brown is in it. Bradley Whitford, Vera Farmiga, Kyle Chandler, and Charles Dance from Game of Thrones. It was in it as well, and he had a really funny line that was very reminiscent of Game of Thrones, which cracked me up.
Yeah, it was almost like he was channeling Tywin.
Yeah, a little bit. So I thought that was super fun. But I was super excited to see this because we're gonna see I think another big, couple of other monsters for Godzilla to collide with, and I think that there's some super fun things to, the story might suck a little bit. I don't know, because I don't really care. I love a good bad monster movie. So whether this is really great, whether it really sucks, I really don't care, just because I love monster movies. So
big monsters fighting in like a post-apocalyptic world, like take my money. That's a good 2-hour run.
I want to see him tear some shit up. So yeah, I'm super excited for Godzilla.
For me, I used to watch Godzilla, the Japanese Godzilla movies as a kid, and I was like, why are their mouths moving so funny? Because they dubbed it all in English. But since then, I'm like, oh yeah, now that special effects are developing, they need to update Godzilla for the modern times and do it, really awesome. And I feel like, that first Godzilla movie in the 90s, was it Matthew Broderick?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they made Godzilla look totally different. And I'm like, dude, just make it look like Godzilla. Like, it's not Godzilla. And the movie was, I don't know, it was fine, but it wasn't great. And then this last Godzilla movie with Bryan Cranston, it was one of those movies where I really wanted to love it. And so I watched it and convinced myself that I loved it. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, it was still a little disappointing. Like, I don't feel like they really scratched that itch that I want to see just an amazing Godzilla movie. And the trailer, I mean, who knows with trailers, but this really seemed to capture just how fucking massive Godzilla is. Like, huge, and it looked really good. And you see the little airplane circling around, and yeah, I think it's cool if they have all these other monsters to fight Godzilla, and they have a great cast. And I don't know, I think there's a chance that this could finally be the Godzilla movie that I've been waiting for. I hope so. I'm excited about it too.
Yeah.
That was one of my items, actually. That was the one I was going to talk about next.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. We didn't talk beforehand. But I hope it's going to be good. But I'll just go into some other just quick mentions of interesting news that came out. I don't know, this sounds iffy, but there's a reboot of Buffy. Did you catch that, Sean?
I did. I heard a lot about that they're going to. I've heard like conflicting things that it's not actually a reboot. It's like a continuation.
Okay.
So they're going to have like another vampire slayer that's not, maybe her name will be Buffy, but it won't be Buffy.
Okay. So it's like, it's in the same universe, different characters.
I think so, yeah. And
okay.
but I don't know if that's kind of like just control of all the like the nerd rage that was going on. I'm all for it. I mean, as long as it kind of stays true to like the and again, it was a late 90s 2000, like I was in a teen, like I was like not even a teenager yet, so I'm sure I was like the demographic for it. So I'm sure whatever they come out with, they're going to try and hit that demographic, which I'm not anymore. I'm a 30-something man.
But you're pretty immature, so I think
that is true. That is true. As long as they have my Xander, like if I can relate to a Xander type character, then I'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that gives me pause about that is that Joss Whedon has such a particular style, and he's the executive producer, but there's this showrunner, Monica Owusu-Breen, who I don't know anything about. So hopefully they can... I mean, Buffy has this reputation for being very well written.
Yeah.
So that you would want another follow-up show to be really well written, you know? So hopefully. Another piece of news, apparently young Spock is going to be showing up on Star Trek Discovery. I still need to catch up on that show. I fully intend to, but I only have seen a few episodes. So this makes me want to catch up even more because I like Spock.
Love Spock.
Let's see. There was a lot of stuff for the CW superhero shows, Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning. I'm just not that in. I think those don't hit my demographic. I think they're more for like 20s, and they're okay. But I mean, Flash is probably my favorite of those. I've seen more episodes of that one than any. Apparently Flash gets a thing that has been pretty iconic in the comic, which is that his costume comes out of his ring and then he can just kind of run into it or something. So that's going to be on the show now. I was excited about that. Cool. There was a big panel with, what's her name? Jodie Whittaker, who's going to be the new Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm excited about that. And there was a pretty cool trailer of that. So she was in an episode of Black Mirror. I think we might have talked about it. The one where, what was it called? Was it The Entire History of You?
I think The Entire History of You, yes.
Yeah.
That was a really great episode.
Yes, I loved it. So now she's going to be Doctor Who. That's cool.
Yeah, she's going to be great, I think.
Any other news or anything from Comic-Con?
The last thing that I had was Kevin. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, and he dropped his pilot for his new TV show that he's trying to get greenlit, Hollyweed. You can watch the pilot out right now. I think it's Rivet TV. And it's kind of like, I think he's pitched it to a few places and nobody's picked up, but Rivet TV is kind of like crowdfunding, but you get like to see the pilot. If you like it, you throw in money and then they try to make the rest of it. But essentially it's a weed store in Hollywood, and Kevin Smith and one of his friends kind of run it. So it's not Kevin Smith, but it's just he's playing an actor in it. It's like 20 some minutes. It's really, really good if you like stoner humor. So if you like Kevin Smith stuff, I think it's some of his better writing in probably a while, probably 10 years or so.
Nice. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Because I felt like exciting. he once he got into podcasting, I felt like that was sapping all of his creative energy, that it was stopped because he got to scratch his itch of just wanting to put content out into the world. And so he stopped making as many other things. So I'm glad to see that he's trying to do a TV show.
Yeah, he's had a weird career. Once he got into podcasting, he kind of got out of movies, and then he got back into them for a bit, making his own thing, and now he just released a tweet fairly recently, like he's just submitted a script for like the biggest IP he's ever worked for, intellectual property he's ever worked for. Oh. And he hasn't been able to drop the name yet, but he's like, this will be the biggest budget, biggest IP that I've ever worked for. I'm hoping, I doubt it is, but I'm hoping it's the new TMNT movie, and that's what he's going to run.
Ooh.
Because he was in the cartoon, so there's a little tie in there.
He wrote a really good Daredevil series of comics.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but Richard, my buddy, he's read through it and said it was really, really good.
It was, and it wasn't like silly or anything. It was just good, dark, brooding Daredevil, good stuff. So he could do Batman. I was kind of thinking Batman might be cool.
He's got a Batman series out.
Fat Man on Batman.
No, a actual comic.
Oh.
He put out a limited series because he took a lot of flack because in it he made Batman pees in the suit. Because he's like, well, I gotta go, so I gotta go.
Just go, man. Robin's on the back of the bike.
Just
all right. Let's see. Before we wrap, I wanted to talk about just briefly stuff that we were excited about last year and how it panned out. Sean, you mentioned, I think it was Rocko's Modern Life movie. Did that come out?
I haven't. I thought it was supposed to come out this December. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't even heard any like talks about it. Okay. So I was thinking about that this year when I was like, wait, wasn't that supposed to come out like December? And I haven't seen it yet.
What about Bright, the Netflix movie with Will Smith?
I got about 2/3 of the way through it. It wasn't horrible, but it definitely was like, all right, I can kind of take a break from this.
And then you also mentioned Justice League.
Justice League was a little bit of a bummer.
So now you guys know what to make of Sean's recommendation.
I think didn't I mention Ready Player One last year?
You may have, yeah.
Okay.
And you also mentioned Game of Thrones. I was just teasing. Yeah, and Game of Thrones turned out, in my opinion, to be totally awesome.
Oh my gosh.
and Ready Player One was great too. Rima, you mentioned Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I watch it periodically. It's great. Can't wait for the next one.
Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah, that was really fantastic as well.
I liked it better than the first.
Yeah, it was really great. Sean and I had a great time podcasting about it. So yeah.
Legion.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was great. I'm not sure about that ending, but yeah. It was
I know. Rima and I, in case you guys don't know, did a podcast about Legion, and we loved it. I still think it's
still
phenomenal
fantastic
show. But yeah, that ending. And then Westworld, which probably you're a little less high on, huh?
I'm a little, it's still really great. It is a really well-written show. I think that I just need to do a rewatch. It's so complex. It's so dense. There's so much jumping around in that show, and I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but I really think it warrants, for me at least, to go back and rewatch it and binge it instead of like which I think it is definitely a show that you watch it and you need to process it and think about it, talk about it, and prep
if you
for
want
the next
to,
one. But
like, if you don't feel like putting that much work into a show, then you probably shouldn't even bother with Westworld. But if you're the kind of person who likes to really dig in and figure shit out and be, challenged, then it's great.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the mood for that, then
I don't think I was in the right mindset for it as well. Maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset because I really enjoyed season 1. I really did. I just felt, I was a little bit lost in this current season. So I think I just need to go back and probably pick up on those things that I missed. It was still really well written. I really enjoyed those last few episodes. There was a couple of really great last episodes that really just brought me back in and really kind of tied the story back together for me. But I think it will fall back together if I go back and do a rewatch.
Yeah. So yours are all, I would say, hits: Wonder Woman, Stranger Things, season 2, Westworld.
Woohoo!
Legion.
Take that, Sean.
Now mine, okay, American Horror Story Cult. I actually didn't end up watching that. Defenders, I didn't watch it. Marvel Inhumans, didn't watch it. Doctor Who with Jodie Whittaker didn't come out. It's coming out this year, and Dark Tower, which I hated. So man, it's funny. Sean's kind of didn't turn out so well overall. Mine,
we don't know how they
turned out great. I didn't even watch mine.
So I guess we just need to follow Rima's example or suggestions
have
this
we
year.
all just come to the conclusion to just follow me now?
Well, I am gonna watch Godzilla, damn it, and I'm gonna read that Green Lantern comic. I want to talk a little bit about something I posted about recently that's controversial, and I was like, should I even talk about it? What the hell? I'm talking about it. So it's the whole thing about James Gunn getting fired from Guardians of the Galaxy, in case you guys didn't know. But before we get into that, I want to talk about our second and final sponsor. That's our longtime sponsor, Fracture. You guys have heard me say what a fracture is many times, so why don't one of you guys say what it is instead?
Well, a fracture is where they take a photo of your choice. It can be a picture you have taken, and I'm pretty sure Fracture has actual art on their own website, that if you would like to choose some art, they have some that you can choose from. But you can take one of your own pictures, because we have so many pictures in our phone. Let's print one and put it on the wall as this beautiful display of art. They take your picture and put it on. Is it on or in glass? I'm not sure I understand.
It's printed on the glass, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I even have one and I don't freaking know. I can't figure it out. It's just really
how
beautiful.
Does it look?
It's beautiful. It's displayed beautifully. I love that there's no frame to it. It's like it's just this one beautiful print of glass with your picture, and they make it so easy, and it really is beautiful. It was hard to pick just the one picture, and I'm glad that I did it. It's beautiful.
Well, I just got back from this vacation I mentioned. I was 2 weeks in driving through Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado, and I'd never been to Colorado, and I went to also this place called Monument Valley in Arizona, where they had just big red rock formations jutting up out of nowhere. And then Colorado was beautiful, dramatic landscapes, these canyons with speckled with green, and I like it because it's ribboned rock and then a certain kind of foliage, but it's like one or two different kinds, so it's really simple and beautiful. It's almost like some designer said, let's make the most beautiful landscape ever. And then it was blue sky the day I took this one picture that's my favorite, with these total cotton ball clouds. So it's like the sky cuts the picture in half, and I showed it to somebody and they're like, is that real? And I'm like, yeah. So anyways, then I also had Nico and Bodhi, and they're, Nico's 7 and he just turned 7 and Bodhi's 1.5. So I took pictures of beautiful landscape and then them like wrestling with each other or just goofing around or being out in nature. And going through that, I most of the pictures are okay or pretty good, but occasionally I come upon one that's like framed really well and catch a really cute look or a beautiful landscape or something. And I'm like, yeah, man, this makes me feel good when I look at this. And it's something that would be great to just have in my environment where I can look at it a lot and feel good whenever I look and warm up the house or decorate the house nicely. And it's just a really nice thing to do for yourself and to show off for people who come over or whatever. It's a great, Fracture makes it really easy to do that because you just upload your picture and click the buy button and they send it to you and it's ready to hang up and everything. So if you want to do that, you can go to fractureme.com/dead and you get a special discount on your first Fracture order by doing that. That's fractureme.com/dead. Thanks, Fracture.
Thanks.
Okay, so like I mentioned, James Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Boo.
Because I think it was around 10 years or so, 10 years ago or so, he was in this mode of making all these really raunchy, just totally wrong jokes on his Twitter, pedophilia, rape, all kinds of just dark stuff. And it was all jokes, but it was like... he was trying to be provocative. And I heard that he got his start with Trauma, the film company that did Toxic Avenger. If you've ever seen that, it's just totally like taboo, humor. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of things he was doing. And so I don't know if Disney didn't know about that when they hired him to direct the first few movies or what, but somebody didn't like that how he was speaking out politically, so they brought it out into the public attention. Look what James Gunn wrote, and he, I guess, had already apologized about that a couple
years ago. Yeah.
Well, I think those tweets were already deleted too. Like they weren't active tweets. So when they were found, like somebody found them through some deleted archive
or something.
That's the understanding I have of it.
Well, anyways, I posted. There was a petition to rehire him that came up, and it got signatures fast, and it's already up to 345,000 today. And I posted about it, and a lot of people were supportive, but some people, they don't like jokes about pedophiles, and I don't blame them. And so they're like, no, I don't. I think he should be fired. Well, that part, God, it's free speech, man. Even if you don't like a joke or it's sick and twisted, does that mean that somebody can't have a career, or can't, is he allowed to work anywhere? Or should you, if you make bad jokes like that, should you just be excommunicated from society? I mean, I think some people conflated joking about that stuff with him actually doing it, which I think it's very different.
Very different, yes.
Well, it's a dangerous precedent to kind of set to say, like, he should be fired. Those jokes were, like, those weren't, like, sometimes you see jokes where people are like, oh my gosh, like, that's bad, he should be fired. You look at it like, well, they're not bad. Like, those jokes were, like, very uncomfortable to read, like, not, like, there are things that you wouldn't want to be like, oh, well, I mean, they're okay. Like, they're not that bad. But there's been 2 baseball players very recently that have had the exact same thing happen. There's a guy in an all-star game, and there's a pitcher just a couple of days ago who was almost to throw a no-hitter, and they're going through his past Twitter accounts and being like, oh, he said, homophobic things, which are bad. But, like, was he joking? Was he, and you could say, like, well, what's like, that's bad. Like, that's very bad. But pedophilia jokes are probably on the same level, I would say. Like, those are pretty awful things too.
Yeah. I mean, this seems a little weird to say, but the way I feel about that is, if somebody made, like, a racist joke, I almost feel like, well, they're probably a racist. But if you make a joke about pedophilia, I don't think you're a pedophile. I think you're just being sick. You're being as shocking as you can possibly be to get a reaction. Do you know what I mean?
It's still disgusting and in bad taste.
Yeah.
And, but
it's not like you're really thinking about doing
pedophile,
that. Yeah,
right?
But if you're making a racist joke, then you're probably got some racist tendencies to be talking
but I mean,
like
if you
that.
make, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a very kind of weird line to talk about things kind of separately like that. They're both really horrible things.
It is, yeah.
It is horrible, because
is.
it's hard to think about a pedophile joke. It's like, it's like, eh.
Let me read something. I mean, I bet you there's some people who have tuned out since I started talking about this, because they're like, fuck you, Jason. You're supporting this pedophile joker or whatever. But I just want you to know that today, Chris Pratt posted to his Instagram this signed letter from the whole cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm going to read it. It says, "We fully support James Gunn. We were all shocked by his abrupt firing last week and have intentionally waited these 10 days to respond in order to think, pray, listen, and discuss. In that time, we have been encouraged by the outpouring of support from fans and members of the media who wish to see James reinstated as director of Volume 3, as well as discouraged by those who were so easily duped into believing the many outlandish conspiracy theories around him. Being in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies has been a great honor in each of our lives. We cannot let this moment pass without expressing our love, support, and gratitude for James. We are not here to defend his jokes of many years ago, but rather to share our experience having spent many years together on set making Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. The character he has shown in the wake of his firing is consistent with the man he was every day on set, and his apology, now and from years ago when first addressing these remarks, we believe is from the heart, a heart we all know, trust, and love. In casting each of us to help him tell the story of misfits who find redemption, he changed our lives forever. We believe the theme of redemption has never been more relevant than now. There is little due process in the court of public opinion. James is likely not the last good person to be put on trial. Given the growing political divide in this country, it's safe to say instances like this will continue, although we hope American from across the political spectrum can ease up on the character assassinations and stop weaponizing mob mentality. It is our hope that what has transpired can serve as an example for all of us to realize the enormous responsibility we have to ourselves and to each other regarding the use of our written words when we etch them in digital stone, that we as a society may learn from the experience and in the future will think twice before we decide what we want to express. And in so, learning perhaps can harness this capability to help and heal instead of hurting each other. Thank you for taking the time to read our words." So that last paragraph is kind of interesting because it's almost like they're aiming that at James Gunn. Like, dude, let's use this as a lesson to learn before you write shit like that. But it's also, this whole thing is in support of him. And it was signed by Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Karen Gillan, Michael Rooker, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Dave Bautista, Sean Gunn, and Palm Clement. Yeah, the whole cast.
I just feel like if this is the precedent you're setting, like, there's careers out there where you could make a job where you just go through people who are, going for the acting job or the director job that you're trying to get, and be like, oh, did you know when this person was 15 years old, they tweeted this really inappropriate joke? It's like, I don't think James Gunn should have been fired. If he would have, like, and a lot of people are making the Roseanne comparison. And, Roseanne said something very recently that was bad. And James Gunn, from what I understand, hasn't said anything terrible except, 7+ years ago that were deleted because they were inappropriate. And I think he understood that they're inappropriate. Like, there seems to be a difference there. Like, if James Gunn had said something like in an interview, or, TMZ got some video of him coming out of, a bar saying a joke that was on par with what he was saying, 7 years ago, then there's, he's got a history of
that's
saying
different anyway. I mean, I think there's even a case to be made, and I don't know, I'm not maybe smart enough or haven't thought hard enough about it to know if I would make this case, but there is definitely a case to be made that, hey, we're a country where we're free and we have free speech. And I don't know if saying a really bad joke or even something negative like what Roseanne said definitely should mean that you should be fired from your job, because does that then mean that you should never have a job again because you said something that nobody likes? Maybe that should be left to the court of public opinion. I mean, I don't know. I didn't like what Roseanne said at all, and I don't even like what James Gunn said, but I just don't want to jump to this thing where we're like, okay, if you say something that we don't like, then you're like, we're going to send you off to some island or something,
Right.
Like,
you're exiled from...
I mean, I'm a podcaster. I don't want to, like, if you didn't like something I said, does that mean I can't ever work again?
Well, that's the thing now, is it's not just like what you said right now. It's what you said in the past. So it's far reaching now. It's not just saying something stupid right now like it used to be. It seemed like if you said something stupid, you're like, crap, that was dumb. Like, I kind of misspoke. I wasn't really thinking. I'm sorry. It kind of would get forgotten. But now it's like, we're going back 10 years and finding things you said and beating you over the head with it.
Yeah, I do not want anything.
Yeah. Right. Can we just like play back that recording of you when you were 15?
Right.
But the crazy thing too is that this was from I think a far right person who didn't like that James Gunn was saying negative things about Trump, and so dredged this stuff up using it as a weapon. And I don't think this guy cared that James Gunn said that. He was just using the left's propensity for political correctness as a way to punish him for saying something that he didn't like politically.
Yeah, and I think that's the dangerous thing you're seeing on both sides do this. And I listen to a lot of left and right, kind of like, not like far left and far right, like try and get more the middle. And everybody who's kind of in the middle is like, this is dumb. Like, why are they firing this guy for things that he did 7 years? Even people who are like, I don't agree with what he's saying about Trump. And people are saying, yeah, I agree with what he says about Trump. Both people are like in the middle are saying, hey, this is dumb. Like, why are you firing this guy for something he said in the past? It's kind of that extremes that we're trying to like satisfy both these far left and far right kind of groups to say, hey, we don't want to offend you guys, even though you're maybe a smaller majority of people. Well, let's just fire him so we don't have to deal with the backlash. I mean, that seems to be kind of the go-to, is we don't want to deal with the backlash. Let's get ahead of it. You're fired because you said something stupid.
That's what it's all about. Not wanting to risk getting bad publicity.
Well, and I think what people are also looking over is that the guy who's being credited with getting James Gunn fired had his own history of tweets that are...
I just saw that today.
Extremely deplorable and disgusting. So it's like, well, so... you're not any better.
He didn't care. He just wanted to hurt James Gunn.
Exactly.
But, and I also want to add that this whole environment, this Me Too movement, people being able to come out and finally talk about ways that they've been abused by women, by men in power positions and stuff like that. It's fucking awesome. It's great that now people who have hurt other people are having to pay the consequences for that, like Harvey Weinstein and everything, and Bill Cosby, and that people are speaking up about it. So that's the other side of this coin. Like, people who are actually out there causing harm are now having to deal with the consequences of that. And I think that is fucking awesome. But I think that we're taking that environment and then causing harm or using it to punish somebody like James Gunn, who by all accounts is actually a really good guy who made some dumb jokes.
And I think we've all can say we probably made some dumb jokes or jokes in bad taste. So like I said, I would hate for anybody to have to go back. I'm glad that a lot of things that happened in my past, there was no social media, because I don't want to have any of that crap dredged up. I'm not a perfect person and have probably said things that are regrettable as well. So I don't think, I just think this was not done well. And I hope it gets rehired.
I know. I think there's a chance he might with the whole backlash, but we'll
Chris
see.
Hardwick did. So
yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't put that in the news, but they've decided to bring Chris Hardwick back as the host of Talking Dead after what they said they did an investigation or something about Chloe Dykstra's accusations. All right, let's take a little break. We'll be back with some of your guys' reactions. Stay with us. All right, we're back. It's time for listener moans, groans, and grunts. Okay, it was just last minute, so I didn't get a lot of responses, but I asked on Facebook if you guys were excited about any of the trailers or announcements from Comic-Con, and we got a couple answers. Rima, want to go first?
Sure. The first one is from Gemma Hall. She says, The Passage. I've been reading the books and they're really good. It's like The Walking Dead, only it's deadly vampires, things called virals, and one girl who is sort of the cure. The trailer looks really good. Fingers crossed.
That's one that Lucy has been talking about and saying that she's excited about. So she read the books, I guess, and they were really good. So could be interesting.
Cool.
Brian White says, more Clone Wars, and Shazam looks good.
Yeah, we didn't mention it, but this animated Star Wars series called The Clone Wars was going for a few seasons, and then when Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas, it was kind of abruptly canceled. They wrapped it up quick, but from what I understand, because I haven't seen it all the way through, a lot of the storylines were left dangling. So I think they announced at Comic-Con that they're going to do another season and wrap it up properly, which I think is great because that's a really good series.
Cool.
And then here's some comments about the Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead trailers. Jillian Moreau says, the season 9 trailer got me really excited for October's premiere. I definitely haven't had the warmest feelings about this show the last season or two, but it looks like it may be turning a corner. And as much as I am so not looking forward to the exit of Andy Lincoln, I'm definitely thrilled to see how it's all going to play out.
Brian White says, Season 9 looks promising. I can tell it is at least a different season. I still would like to know where all the colorful clothing has gone in the zombie apocalypse.
It's all dirty.
So Karen, she says, Season 8 left the entitled fangirl me all frustrated and sullen about the franchise. Contrived character, motivations, and plots made me want to dismiss Season 9 altogether. But man, do I love the San Diego Comic-Con trailer. It pulled me right back in. The cast and crew touts the season as a Western, a return to practical weapons and modes of transportation. That's already an improvement from the endless gas and ammo we saw in Season 8. I love that they're thinking about sustainability and preservation, both physical and mental, except for the motorcycle. It's got endless gas. I'm even more excited to see the shot of the different settlements, though. I bristle at the addition of even more characters. The cast is inflated enough, but done right, the inherent conflict in rebuilding civilization will yield drama that's more intriguing than the next big bad. Speaking of, it's smart to dilute Negan's character by putting him behind bars. Let's see how he can psychologically mess up our characters. Sans Lucio, a la Hannibal in Silence of the Lambs. Can't wait for those comic panels to come to life. Also, the next big bad. I leaped out of my seat at the last few seconds of the trailer. Where are they? So yeah, the trailer did its job to excite me. I'm feeling good about Angela Kang's takeover. Above all, I hope the season does justice to Andy Lincoln's exit.
I didn't know Pennywise was going to be in it.
That did veer a little towards your Pennywise there, Sean.
That's all I got. Good. It's like all my voices.
That was great, Karen. Very good observations as usual. Thank you.
As usual.
Rick Montalvan says both great, and what a return to form for The Walking Dead. The season 7 and 8 trailers left much to be desired.
Gemma Hall says, both awesome trailers. Got excited for both.
Danielle Dement Juiced. Season 9 looks great. I'm excited.
And Josh Vijanovic says, shh, not so loud. And then we got 3 emails.
Yep. So the first one is from Carrie Massow Abels. Jason, I listened to your podcast with the recommendations for other shows. I started watching Wild Wild Country. I never knew about the issues out there, and I love the music and that they have old video footage. Drugging homeless people with Haldol, trying to kill the doctor, and now Sheila's escape. The twists and turns never stop. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, if you like cults and fucked up behavior, watch Wild Wild Country, this documentary on Netflix.
I would second that. It was really great.
The next email comes from Chelsea from Perth, Australia. She says, hi, Jason, Rima, and Sean. Oh my gosh, you knew we were going to be on here.
Amazing.
Nice. She's psychic.
I'm a listener listening to an old episode in 2018. I started listening to your show just over a year ago, but I like staying a year or so behind just in case I accidentally spoil on something. It's cool to know what has happened, but hear your theories about what's going to happen, etc. Keep up the awesome work.
Thank you. Yeah, that's nice when people go back and listen to the old ones. I need to do that. I want to see how bad we've
Make sure you didn't say anything
go listen to your bad
inappropriate.
jokes and delete them.
Yeah. Issue 8 is all pedophilia. I got to take that one off. Take that one down. Just kidding. From Jessica Schmidt says, hi, Jason and Rima and Sean. Just kidding. She said, hi, Jason and Karen. So I actually listened to the Ash vs. Evil Dead cast first, and I love that podcast. That is awesome. You're the first person I've ever heard say they found me through Evil Dead, so that's great because I love that show so much. Anyway, she goes on, I first heard of your Walking Dead cast on there when Karen was a guest, so I started listening to that podcast because I liked your chemistry and I love it. I'm a crazy person and I like to start at the beginning when I listen to podcasts, so I'm way behind, like between seasons 2 and 3. I did listen to the Hereditary episode because I'm obsessed with that movie, but besides that I'm way far behind, so I just wanted to write in and ask what your other projects are. Well, if you go to podcastica.com, you can see all the podcasts on our network, which has Rima and Sean's Strange Indeed, but also Legion and Westworld, Game of Microphones, and what else do we have on there? Ash vs. Evil Dead is over. I feel like I have another show that I'm not thinking of. Anyways, go to
American
Podcastica.
Gods, but it's not very recent.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little... because it was only season 1 and we're still waiting on season 2. But yeah, your project was to see how many podcasts you could do at one time.
God. Yeah, that burnt me out. She goes on, and Jason, 6 Feet Under is my favorite show, and I was so excited when I heard you mention that you think it's yours as well. Yes, so good. I think you should totally do a 6 Feet Under podcast. I would die of happiness. I don't want to kill you. That would be a good first scene of an episode of 6 Feet Under.
Don't lose a listener.
I just realized that show is on Amazon Prime and started watching it, which I haven't seen since back when it was coming out, really. The pilot episode is the greatest ever and still makes me cry, apparently. And the final episode of that show is the best finale of any show ever. But anyways, I think the two of you are great, and since I'm so far behind, I wanted to write in and ask what all you two have going on. Thanks for reading my long-ass email. Well, thanks for writing in.
It's a pleasure to read that long-ass email.
If she doesn't listen to this episode in a year, it's going to be pretty cool. Like in 2019, she's going to figure out what happened at San Diego Comic-Con, know which trailers sucked and which ones were good.
Yeah.
That's right, huh? She's 2 years behind, so happy 2020. I hope this planet is still here. All right, that is our show, episode 318. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Glad to be back. Glad to be podcasting again. If you want to give us a call, you can reach us at 650-485-DEAD. That's 650-485-3323.
You can email us at brains@podcastica.com.
You can find us on the web at facebook.com/deadcast.
And be sure to check out our other shows at podcastica.com. I am going to go, as soon as I get a chance, and watch Castle Rock and then listen to Strange Indeed. And I suggest everyone else do the same thing. Next episode on this podcast is Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 9, which premieres August 12th. So we'll see you back then. All right, that's our show.